Have you ever stood in the middle of your living room, calling your child's name only to be completely ignored? Or maybe worse, they roll their eyes at you, slam the door, or hit you with a sarcastic whatever. You wonder, when did this happen? How did the child you once rocked to sleep learn to shut you out like this? Before we dive in, if you've ever felt hurt, frustrated, or even helpless in moments like these, hit that like button and subscribe to Stoic Vibes and stay with me to the very end. Because what you'll learn today can not only change the way you respond to your child, it can transform the emotional core of your relationship. Let's walk through a powerful Stoic lens that might just heal what seems broken. Let me tell you a story. It was a cold autumn evening in ancient Rome. A Stoic philosopher named Epictetus, once a slave, now a teacher, was walking through the city with one of his students. They passed a father screaming at his son in the courtyard, his voice bouncing off marble walls like a war drum. The son ignored him, arms crossed, eyes distant. The student asked Epictetus, "Why does the father shout, if he knows his son won't listen?" Epictetus paused and replied, "Because the father does not yet govern himself. He hopes that by mastering the child he can find peace. But peace comes not from control. It comes from understanding what is and is not within our power." Fast forward nearly 2,000 years and not much has changed. Parents still shout, children still ignore, and deep down, we still believe that if our kids would just respect us, listen to us, respond to us, we'd feel okay again. But the Stoics teach something radically different, and that's what we're about to explore. Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor and one of the most revered Stoic philosophers, wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." Let that sink in. We don't have control over our children's attitudes, tones, moods, or words, but we do have control over how we respond. Now, that doesn't mean you become a doormat. It means you respond from strength, not wounded ego, from inner calm, not emotional chaos. Let me introduce you to Julia. She's a mother of two. Her oldest, Max, is 14 and going through what we might call the storm phase. You know what I mean. Sudden mood swings, backtalk, disappearing into headphones for hours. One afternoon, Julia asked Max to take out the trash. No response. She asked again, this time louder. Still nothing. Then came the yell, "Max, take out the trash." Max didn't flinch. He muttered something about being busy and went back to his game. Julia lost it. She screamed, cried, slammed a cupboard. Max finally took out the trash, but the house felt like a war zone. And afterward, Julia felt hollow. She found herself wondering, what am I doing wrong? Why won't he just listen? But then one night, scrolling through videos on Stoicism, she stumbled upon a quote by Seneca. "Anger, if not restrained, is frequently more hurtful to us than the injury that provokes it." That line hit her like a lightning bolt, and slowly things began to change. Absolutely. Here's a 500-word expanded version of the first point. Master your response, written in a storytelling and emotional style, deeply engaging the viewer by connecting it to love, memories, and making them feel like this is their story. Stoic Principle 01. Master your response. Let me ask you something personal. Do you remember the first time you truly fell in love? Think back to that moment, the way your heart raced just at the sound of their voice. How just one look from them could change your entire mood. The feeling that this person got you in a way no one else did. Hold that memory for a second. Now imagine, one day, that same person looked at you and with a blank stare turned away. Didn't say a word, didn't acknowledge your presence, didn't care. That sting you just felt in your chest? That ache of feeling unseen, unvalued? That's what it feels like when your child ignores you. And if you've felt that lately, I want you to know, you're not alone. This video is for you. Let's talk about a man named Rehan. Rehan used to be a hopeless romantic. He'd write poems to his wife, play her favorite songs on late-night drives, dance with her in the kitchen even when the kids laughed. He thought love was this magical thing that just fixed everything. But now, he felt like a stranger in his own house. His teenage daughter, Noor, would barely look up from her phone. His son, Arav, responded to his questions with grunts, or worse, silence. One evening, Rehan stood at the dinner table, holding their plates, calling their names, and no one came. The man who once believed in the power of love suddenly felt invisible. So he did what most of us do. He raised his voice. He shouted. He demanded respect. But nothing changed until one sleepless night, scrolling through his phone, he landed on a video much like this one. A quote flashed across the screen from Epictetus. "It's not things that upset us, but our judgments about them." And for the first time, it clicked. It wasn't the ignoring that broke him. It was the story he told himself about it. Julia lost it. She screamed, cried, slammed a cupboard. Max finally took out the trash, but the house felt like a war zone. And afterward, Julia felt hollow. She found herself wondering, what am I doing wrong? Why won't he just listen? But then one night, scrolling through videos on Stoicism, she stumbled upon a quote by Seneca. "Anger, if not restrained, is frequently more hurtful to us than the injury that provokes it." That line hit her like a lightning bolt, and slowly things began to change. Absolutely. Here's a 500-word expanded version of the first point. Master your response, written in a storytelling and emotional style, deeply engaging the viewer by connecting it to love, memories, and making them feel like this is their story. Stoic Principle 01. Master your response. Let me ask you something personal. Do you remember the first time you truly fell in love? Think back to that moment, the way your heart raced just at the sound of their voice. How just one look from them could change your entire mood. The feeling that this person got you in a way no one else did. Hold that memory for a second. Now imagine, one day, that same person looked at you and with a blank stare turned away. Didn't say a word. Didn't acknowledge your presence. Didn't care. That sting you just felt in your chest? That ache of feeling unseen, unvalued? That's what it feels like when your child ignores you. And if you've felt that lately, I want you to know, you're not alone. This video is for you. Let's talk about a man named Rehan. Rehan used to be a hopeless romantic. He'd write poems to his wife, play her favorite songs on late-night drives, dance with her in the kitchen even when the kids laughed. He thought love was this magical thing that just fixed everything. But now, he felt like a stranger in his own house. His teenage daughter, Noor, would barely look up from her phone. His son, Arav, responded to his questions with grunts, or worse, silence. One evening, Rehan stood at the dinner table, holding their plates, calling their names, and no one came. The man who once believed in the power of love suddenly felt invisible. So he did what most of us do. He raised his voice. He shouted. He demanded respect. But nothing changed until one sleepless night, scrolling through his phone, he landed on a video much like this one. A quote flashed across the screen from Epictetus. "It's not things that upset us, but our judgments about them." And for the first time, it clicked. It wasn't the ignoring that broke him. It was the story he told himself about it. They don't love me anymore. I'm failing as a father. I'm not important to them. But were those stories true? No, they were emotional reactions. And in that moment, Rehan understood. He didn't need to control his kids. He needed to control himself. So the next morning, when Noor brushed past him without a word, he didn't snap. He smiled softly and said, "Morning, sweetheart. I made your favorite tea." She paused for a second, still didn't say much, but her eyes softened. That evening, she helped him with the dishes without him asking. Small wins, silent shifts. But that's how love grows back. You see, real love isn't loud. It's not in the shouting or the slamming doors. It's in the pause between the pain and the reaction. It's in the decision to respond with grace when you're met with silence. It's the quiet mastery of your own heart. So if your child is ignoring you, ask yourself, can I be the love I wish they'd return? Can I be calm in the storm? Because maybe, just maybe, that's what they need most right now. Stay with me, because the next lesson will reveal the secret. Stoics used to stop chasing control and find real peace. Don't go anywhere. This is still your story. Stoic Principle number 2. Separate what you control from what you don't. Let me ask you something deeply real. Have you ever tried to fix someone you love? Tried everything, talked, begged, reasoned, cried, maybe even screamed just to get them to understand you? To change? To show up the way you need them to? If you've ever loved someone deeply, whether a partner, a child, or even a friend, you know the ache of watching them drift. While you stand helpless on the shore. That's what happened to Nisha. She was a devoted mother, once known for being calm and patient. Her daughter, Anya, had been her sunshine, smiling, silly, affectionate. But as Anya entered her teen years, things changed. The eye contact stopped. Conversations became short, almost mechanical. The affection vanished, replaced by distance, and sometimes even coldness. Nisha couldn't understand. She did everything right. Home-cooked meals, checked in on school, offered to talk, tried to be the cool mom, and yet nothing. One day, after Anya snapped at her over something as small as being asked to put her laundry away, Nisha broke down in the bathroom. She whispered to herself, "Why is she like this? What am I doing wrong? Why won't she just talk to me like she used to?" The pain wasn't just from the argument, it was from the loss of control. That's when a friend gave her a book on Stoicism. Inside it, she read a simple but powerful truth from Marcus Aurelius. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. And suddenly, it clicked. All this time she had been trying to control Anya, her tone, her mood, her behavior. But those things, they were never in her control. The only thing Nisha truly had power over was herself, her thoughts, her interpretations, her actions. That's when everything began to shift. The next time Anya rolled her eyes and walked away, Nisha didn't chase her down or lecture her. She didn't take it personally. She simply said with a steady voice, "I'm here when you're ready to talk." At first there was silence, but a week later, Anya came and sat next to her on the couch. No words, just sat there. It was small, but it was something, because Nisha stopped trying to force love and started showing love by letting go of control. Let me ask you this. What are you trying to control right now? Your child's attitude? Their habits? Their feelings? And is it bringing you peace or pain? The Stoics teach that freedom begins the moment you stop fighting the things beyond you. Your child is on their own path. You can guide them. You can love them. But you cannot be them. What you can be is a steady, peaceful, powerful presence, like a lighthouse that never chases the ships but still guides them home. So let go of what's not yours to hold, and keep watching, because the next part will teach you how to transform every difficult moment with your child into a moment of growth. Stoic principle number 3, use every challenge as a training ground. Let me ask you something personal. Have you ever gone through a season in your life where it felt like everything was testing you? Not just one thing going wrong, but a chain of chaos. Your kids pushing your buttons, your partner distant, work piling up. You're holding it together, but barely. And you wonder, why me? Why now? If you've ever whispered to yourself, I can't take one more thing, this part is for you. Let me take you into the story of Daniel. Daniel was the kind of father who tried his best to be better than his own dad. His father had been a man of few words and quick temper. Daniel swore he'd break the cycle. He was affectionate, involved, intentional. But as his son Rishi hit 13, it all seemed to fall apart. One day Rishi came home with a suspension notice from school for disrespecting a teacher. When Daniel confronted him, Rishi just shrugged and muttered, "It's not a big deal. You're overreacting." That phrase, "you're overreacting," cut deeper than any insult. Daniel felt the heat rise in his chest. His fists clenched. He was ready to explode. But then, he remembered something he read the night before. A quote from Marcus Aurelius. "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In that moment, Daniel realized this wasn't an interruption. This was his training. You see, the Stoics believed that every challenge, every insult, every act of defiance, every difficult moment is not there to destroy you. It's there to shape you. Daniel let out a slow breath. Instead of yelling, he looked his son in the eyes and calmly said, "Rishi, this isn't about school. It's about who you're becoming. And I want to help you figure that out. But I can't force you. I can only walk beside you when you're ready." Rishi didn't respond right away. But something shifted. That night, he knocked on Daniel's door and said, "Can we talk?" That one moment of choosing calm over chaos, it changed everything. So now let me turn to you. What if every time your child ignores you, every time they talk back, every time they roll their eyes or storm off, what if that's not them trying to break you? What if it's life trying to build you? Because here's what the Stoics knew. Strength doesn't come from peace. It comes from pressure. Patience isn't grown in silence. It's forged in storms. Love isn't tested when things are easy. It's proven when it's hard. The moment your child challenges you is the exact moment the universe is asking you, can you be who you say you are? A calm parent, a steady guide, a quiet warrior. So the next time it feels like your child is pushing you over the edge, pause and remember, this isn't punishment. This is practice. And your growth is the greatest gift you can ever give them. Stay with me. Because the next lesson will show you how to model the kind of behavior that plants the seeds of lifelong respect. This story still has more to reveal. Stoic principle number 4. Let me ask you this. When you think of the person who shaped you most, who comes to mind? Was it a parent? A grandparent? A teacher? Maybe a mentor? Now think about why. Was it what they said or how they lived? Chances are, it wasn't their lectures that stuck with you. It was their calm when things went wrong. It was their kindness in moments when others were cruel. It was the way they treated people when no one was watching. Let me tell you about Arav. He was a single dad raising his 10-year-old son, Kabir. Kabir had recently started copying behavior from school, talking back, slamming doors, refusing to clean his room. Arav tried every strategy, reward charts, timeouts, even firm talks, but nothing was working. One night, Arav completely lost his cool. Kabir refused to turn off the TV after being asked 3 times. Arav yelled loudly. Kabir looked stunned. He didn't cry. He didn't yell back. He just quietly said, "You always tell me not to yell, but you do it too." That moment hit Arav like a punch to the gut. He realized something painful. His son wasn't just listening to him. He was watching him. And in that moment, a Stoic truth rang in his head. Don't explain your philosophy. Embody it. Epictetus. From that day on, Arav changed his approach. He stopped telling Kabir how to behave and started showing him. He didn't just say, "Be respectful." He made sure he was respectful when he spoke to his son. He didn't just say, "Talk calmly." He made sure he didn't raise his voice, especially when he was frustrated. He didn't demand apologies, he gave them when he messed up. And slowly, something changed. Kabir didn't become perfect, but he softened. He started saying sorry on his own, started mirroring the patience he saw in his dad. You see, kids don't become who we tell them to be. They become who we are. So ask yourself this: do you want your child to listen more? Then model what listening looks like. Put the phone down, make eye contact, give them your presence. Do you want them to stop yelling? Then show them how to speak with calm strength, even when you're angry. Do you want them to grow into respectful, compassionate adults? Then give them a living example of what that looks like every day. Because whether you realize it or not, you're their first Stoic teacher. And every moment is a lesson, even your mistakes, especially your mistakes. Because showing your child that you're learning, too, that you're not perfect but you're trying, might be the greatest lesson of all. So don't just teach them to be kind, calm, strong, and thoughtful. Be it right now, today. And if you're still with me, thank you. Because the final lesson will show you the most powerful Stoic practice of all, and how it can transform your connection with your child from the inside out. You won't want to miss it. Stoic principle number 5, practice present moment awareness. Let me ask you something that might stop you in your tracks. When was the last time you were truly present with your child? Not physically near them while scrolling your phone. Not half listening while thinking about work. But fully there, in the moment. Eyes on them, heart open, time paused. If you had to think hard about it, you're not alone. We all get pulled away by deadlines, bills, stress, noise. Life feels like a race. And in that race, the people we love most can become part of the background. But here's the thing. Children don't remember the things we buy them as much as the moments we gave them. Let me tell you about Isha. She was a mother of 2, always busy, always doing, always trying to keep everything together. Her son Zion was quiet. Not rude, not loud, just distant. He seemed to drift through the house like a ghost. She chalked it up to just being a teenager. But one night, while cleaning up the kitchen after dinner, Aisha found something in the trash, a crumpled drawing. It was a picture of a boy sitting on a bench, alone. And above it, written in a child's uneven handwriting, "I miss my mom, even when she's home." Her heart shattered. She couldn't remember the last time she sat with Zayn without multitasking, without just a second, without thinking about the next thing. That night, she didn't say anything. She just walked into his room, sat down beside him, and said, "Hey, want to tell me about your day?" He looked surprised, but he started talking, and for the first time in a long time, she listened, really listened. No phone, no agenda, just presence. The Stoics call this living in accordance with nature, and what is more natural than being here now? Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Confine yourself to the present, because the past is gone. The future is not guaranteed. The only place love lives is right now. So many parents ask, why won't my child talk to me? But sometimes the question is, have I made myself a safe place to be heard? That safety doesn't come from fixing all their problems. It comes from being present, from sitting with them in silence, from watching the stars together without saying a word, from laughing at silly things, from making now feel like the only thing that matters. Because in the end, it's not the lectures that stay with them. It's the feeling of your hand on their back, the softness in your voice, the way you made them feel seen when the world made them feel invisible. So breathe, look into their eyes. Be here, now, because one day they'll grow up and tell someone the story of their childhood. Let that story include a moment where they say, no matter what was going on, my parent was always truly there with me. That's the legacy. That's the Stoic love in motion. And with that said, thanks for watching, and until next time. So, what does it mean to handle it when your kids ignore or disrespect you? It means stepping into the fire of your emotions and choosing not to spread the flames. It means letting go of the illusion of control and reclaiming your inner fortress. It means leading not with fear or force, but with presence, principle, and patience. Parenting is not about molding children like clay. It's about being the steady mountain they can crash into and still find safety. And that's the Stoic way. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.